This is Anniversary Heartz by Nicholas Lawrence, a new visual take on the classic Anniversary Waltz. Is this better than the original? Get your popcorn and watch till the end to find out. I'm sure you've all seen that story where the king gives his heart to the queen. We're going to try that, but with playing cards. We have the King of Hearts and the Queen of Hearts. Watch the king. You'll see the moment that the king gives his heart to the queen, and now it's gone from the king. But we're going to try something very interesting with these cards. We're going to place them together like this, back to back, right here. And we're going to squeeze them really tightly. And if a spectator was here, they'd put their hands in this position and squeeze tight. And then suddenly, the cards have morphed together, forming one unbreakable bond. And that is Anniversary Heartz by Nicholas Lawrence. I hope you enjoyed that performance of Anniversary Heartz. First off, I want to let magic distributors and creators know if you want me to review a product, contact me at bffanmail@gmail.com. Also, I do free Magic Monthly giveaways, and all you have to do to be eligible is subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's talk about Anniversary Heartz. What do you get when you buy this effect? When you buy Anniversary Heartz, you get this plastic bag. And in the plastic bag, you get a bunch of stuff. First and foremost, you get a red double backer, bicycle back. Then you get the star of the show that allows for the crazy visual of the king giving his heart to the queen, the two gimmicked kings and queens. Finally, you get 25 of the final effect, the final refill gimmicks, which are the Anniversary Waltz cards at the end where they're combined. You get 25 of those. And you're going to use up one of each of these of those refill cards if you're having them signed cards. But in my performance, I didn't have the card signed. You do not have to have the card signed, but it's a nice touch to give them the card at the end so they can keep it. And then finally, you get the link to the tutorial. What is the quality of the gimmick? First, let's talk about the main gimmick. The gimmicks have a red bicycle back design. There are no magnets, rough and through smooth, threads, or anything like that. However, because all the cards, the gimmick is made out of card only. There's nothing else. It's just card. However, there are kind of moving parts, and the gimmick might eventually wear out or crease or something like that the more you use it. The gimmick also might not hold up to intense scrutiny for too long if you're not going to the Anniversary Waltz card where they're together. Once you get to the end result, the card can be examined. But the double backer is pretty good quality, standard, and the souvenir cards for the Anniversary Waltz is very good, and they're USPCC cards, good quality. And again, you can use each of them many times if you don't have the card signed, but I do think it's a nice touch. It makes it so strong, because it's an impossible object they can keep together forever if you do have the card signed. And also, one thing I wanted to note is that the gimmicks, although they allow you to do the great visual, they can be a little bit finicky, especially when they are set in the middle of the deck of cards before the performance. They make the deck of cards a bit too thick to fit in the box because it's 4 extra cards you need to add. It's not a huge issue if you remove the jokers from the deck, and maybe 2 extra cards that you don't need, but it's just something I wanted to tell you guys. Also, something to note is that the plastic bag area, it's a bit taller than it should be. So if the cards go above it, and there's no cardboard graphic to protect it, the cards could bend in transit. Just something I wanted to know. Didn't happen to me, but I wanted to just let you guys know. Now, how's the tutorial? The tutorial is very nice and concise. It's under 15 minutes long. Eric Tate covers the effect. He's in the P3 Magic Studio, and it explains the workings of the effect, how to set the deck up with all the gimmicks, and some very nice subtleties that add an extra layer to convince the audience that what they're seeing is real. I think the tutorial covered what it needed to, and it's nice and concise. Is this social media or a real life effect? A great thing about Anniversary Heartz is that it would work really great on both social media and in real life. You get the very visual moment of the king giving his heart to the queen, and you get that moment where the cards combine, which are 2 very magical moments, especially because the second moment happens in your spectator's hands, which is really commercial. I think the anniversary waltz sequence where the cards combine would be best in real life, so people could make sure it really is one card and the cards aren't just stuck together. However, the heart moving from the king to the queen is really great for social media. What are the angles like with Anniversary Heartz? Anniversary Heartz has great angles. If you want, you can even be surrounded when performing this. Is this examinable? Well, at the end of the routine, the final card is examinable and is given to your spectator as this impossible souvenir. However, at the beginning and the middle of the routine, the cards cannot be examined at all. The deck itself cannot be examined at the end of the routine either, since it ends dirty with a few gimmicked cards left in there. But yeah, that's if you're trying to do another trick after this, it might be a bit hard because you are left with gimmicks in the deck of cards. But let's talk about the difficulty and practicality of this trick. How hard is Anniversary Heartz to do? I would say it's a beginner to intermediate effect. If you can spread cards and do a double lift basic slides, you should be able to pull this off. But make sure you get your script, your pattern down to perfection before you perform this. This is also pretty practical for close-up magic, walk around, and cocktail, other than the fact that there is a bit of a reset, which we will cover shortly. Is there any DIY with this? There is not any DIY required. The gimmicks come ready to go right out of the packaging. All you have to do really is put the gimmicks in your red bicycle deck of cards, as you don't get that included with this. You have to provide your own red bicycle deck. But any red bicycle rider back deck would work. And those are readily available pretty much everywhere. Now, what is the pocket space like? The pocket space required to perform this effect is the 3 gimmicked cards, in addition to however many souvenir cards you want. You will use up 1 souvenir card per performance, as I said, if you have the card signed, which is the way to go, in my opinion. So you need those cards in addition to a red rider back deck and a Sharpie. So it shouldn't, if you already carry a deck of cards and a Sharpie, it should only take up a few cards extra of pocket space. So it's not that big of a deal. But what I do is I just keep the gimmicks in the cellophane or in a packet wallet or my wallet. So then I can just, when I'm taking the cards out of the box, if I want to use Anniversary Heartz, then all I have to do is slide it out of the cellophane while I'm taking the cards out of the box. But if I don't want to use Anniversary Heartz, then I would just leave the cards in the cellophane. So yeah, not much pocket space is required. It's minimal, just 3 gimmicked cards, and however many times you want to perform that number of souvenir cards. But what is the reset like? For this effect, there is a reset. The reset, you wouldn't really want to do it in front of your audience. Ideally, you could maybe do it under a table if you want, or when you're walking from table to table. If you're doing table hopping, you could do it then. It should take about 5 to 10 seconds, but if you're quick with it, you could do it faster. Also, the gimmick cards for this effect are left in the deck, so it could be harder to do other tricks unless you palm the gimmicks out and put them in your pocket. Or maybe you could do this under the guise of saying, you know what, let me take out the jokers and put them in my pocket, but you're not really taking out the jokers, you're taking out the gimmicks. Something I wanted to note is that with the classic Anniversary Waltz, the cards selected are different every time, so it could be repeated from table to table. With this, the cards used are always the same. So if you're doing this at an event at every table where everyone is friends, they may talk about you later if you're doing a good job and see that they all got the same exact cards as souvenirs. I don't know if this is a bad thing because you do have a good premise for why you took those cards out, the king giving his heart to the queen. But people might be like, why does he have so many king and queens of hearts? That's a bit strange. And that's why I think this is best for the occasional performance, like for the bride and groom of the wedding. Whereas with the traditional Anniversary Waltz, it's different cards every time. So if people are showing each other, oh, I got this, then it's different cards. Now, is this better, having said that, than the classic Anniversary Waltz? Obviously, this is up to the performer themselves. In my opinion, I prefer the original Anniversary Waltz effect to perform if it comes to table hopping, because it feels like the spectator can choose any card and the deck is clean. However, which trick is more impactful? I think Anniversary Heartz is much more impactful because of the extra visual moment, which makes sense. It's up to the performer. If you're okay with some gimmicked cards left in your deck after the routine, then you probably will love this much more than the original classic Anniversary Heartz. I definitely will perform this in occasional performances, like in the occasional wedding gig or something like that for the bride and groom. I would absolutely perform this because it's just such a sweet moment, especially if other people are there watching. It's like, oh, the king gives its heart to the queen. So I will be performing this, but when it comes to table hopping, walk around, repeated performances, I would most likely choose the regular Anniversary Waltz effect to perform. But what is the price of Anniversary Heartz? Anniversary Heartz by Nicholas Lawrence costs $20 and it's available on penguinmagic.com. Is it worth the price? If this suits your performing style, definitely get this. It includes the tutorial, it includes 2 very clever gimmicks, 25 souvenir cards, and I think this could have costed $25 or upwards of that, in my opinion, and it still would have been worth the price. But what are the pros and cons with this? The pros are this is easy to do, very visual. There are multiple moments of magic. The tutorial's nice and concise. This leaves your spectator with a souvenir. Refills are available at a very reasonable price. The plot makes sense. The angles are great. The magic happens in their hands at the end. And yeah, there's so much to like about this. But what about the cons? What are the cons with this? Firstly, for the cons, the gimmicks are left in their deck. The gimmicks are left in the deck after the performance. So it might be a bit hard to do other tricks unless you ditch the gimmicks. That's one thing. Another thing is that when you're performing this, as soon as you slide the heart from the king to the queen, the cards are not immediately examinable. The heart really is on there. It's not a heart that's a sticker and it's sliding down. No. It's not that. The heart really is on the queen and no longer on the king. But because of the way the cards are gimmicked, they can't feel the cards to feel that the heart really is on the queen, which is a bit unfortunate. But this is dispelled at the end because when the cards fuse together, they can check that the heart really is on the queen and that it's not on the king anymore. Another thing is that the gimmicks have a little bit of a discrepancy. And also, I'm not too sure about if it eventually will wear out because it's made of just card. And I think it could eventually crease. But I think also the gimmick is a little bit finicky when you're first learning it. But once you master it, it should take about maybe 30 minutes. You're golden. You're golden with this. But what percent do I give this? I really like this effect. I'm giving it an 82%. And let me know in the comments what you think of Anniversary Heartz by Nicholas Lawrence. Thank you all for watching and see you next time.